Hello guys, I am largely unemployed and welcome to Oxygen Not Included. Now, this is a cool little game from Clay Entertainment, the same people who made Don't Starve. It is currently in early access and it has just received a very big update called the Cosmic Upgrade, which is why we're playing it today. They've added a space biome. Now, this isn't going to be much of a tutorial, but there will be tutorial elements to this playthrough. So we're just going to go ahead and start a regular game, nothing fancy about it. I'll show you guys the world seed once we're loaded up. And here we are on our duplicate selection screen. At the beginning of every game, you pick 3 dupes to begin with. They're basically little clones, and you have like a printing pod in game to make some more. Now, we have Ruby here, who is a good cook, and she has an interest in supplying. We'll get into jobs later. She has a small bladder, which means she needs to go to the bathroom more often, but she is a germ-resistant dupe. She's probably pretty good. We'll keep her. Then we've got Camille, but she's got -5 athletics, means she runs half as fast, which kind of sucks. So I'm just going to hit randomize here until we get someone good. Okay, so we got Ari, who's keen on building and digging. Now that is nice. Okay, so he's got a bit of digging proficiency already. He can carry stuff. That's good. He doesn't fight, but he doesn't get diarrhea. Ari, you're on the team. Okay, and then last we've got Abe over here, who can build and can carry. So maybe Ari will be the miner, and Abe can be the builder. Even though, yeah, he's not really suited to it. He hasn't got an interest for it. That's okay. Now we just got to name our little asteroid colony. What are we going to call it? You know what? It's got to be it. It's got to be done. Skylab. Yep, there we go. I did it. I done it. Take that, NASA. Okay, so here we are. Awaking first on the asteroid. Alert! I've awakened trapped inside an asteroid with a crew of 3 duplicates. Resources are scarce. I can't remember how we got here. I'll need help. I'll need to help the duplicates survive if we're going to find answers. Oh man. Okay, let's take stock. Let's hit spacebar to pause. So we can go over the UI really quickly. Up here, of course, we have our time controls. Tab increases speed. That's our cycle. So that's basically the day-night cycle. As it hits, this will go around, what's that, counterclockwise? Yeah? Oh, this will spin clockwise, rather. And then once that needle hits the leading edge of the night cycle, we will lose sunlight and duplicates will have to go to sleep. Now, they can fall asleep on the floor, but it's better if you have beds. Tips will appear on the side here, as well as any alerts that require your attention. You've got your build menu on the bottom, your sort of orders menu on the right. If you think RimWorld, this is like the architect tab. You've got your various reports and such, and, you know, other assignment tabs at the top, but we'll deal with those when we get to them. Now, let's have a look at the map itself. Okay. So here's our 3 dudes, there's our printing pod, and we come with some snacks pre-prepared. I think we have 20 kilograms of nutrient bars, or 16,000 kilocalories. I think the duplicates, if I remember correctly, consume about, is it 2,000 kilocalories per day, or 1,000 kilocalories? I can't remember. They consume a fair bit. And so we're going to need to manage that. We're going to have to make sure they have enough food. We also need to make sure they have breathable oxygen. As you can see, we have some oxygen. We can hit the oxygen overlay here. We've got plenty of oxygen in here. That's a vacuum. We got more oxygen over here, and we've got some nasty carbon dioxide swirling around down there. Colonists will, of course, excrete carbon dioxide as they breathe, or exhale it, depending how you phrase things. Okay, over here, we rather inexplicably have some slime and gold. You don't usually get those creeping in this close, and some water. That's not normal. We got some more water up there and down there, and a big old tank down here. We got a nice open space this way. All in all, pretty good starting biome. We got some raw resources like sandstone and coal, there's dirt and sand, we got copper, we got algae, which is used in oxygen production, and we got this stuff, which is called oxalite. And it is basically solidified oxygen, which for some reason is capable of existing at room temperature, and it will sublimate into oxygen gas until it loses all of its mass. As you can see, this is currently emitting oxygen at just around about 300 grams per second, and it is slowly dropping in mass. You can see it decreasing there on the right. But enough talk, time to dig. So I'm going to hit G to bring up the dig tool, or you can just select it down here, and tell my colonists to dig me a 4-wide strip to the left. Now your colonists can dig up to 3 tiles above them. They kind of stand, 2 tiles away from themselves, sorry. So they kind of stand 2 tiles tall, which means you can dig 4-tile high rooms without any hassle, really. Going any higher than that will be unreachable, and as you can see, it gives me a little notification there. Okay, dokes, first things first, we're going to have to organize water and bathrooms. because we don't want to be pooping in our water supply. So let's run a ladder all the way down yonder. And that should... And then we can go ahead and under plumbing, we'll throw down a pitcher pump, which is used to manually extract water from reservoirs like this one. And then, of course, you do get like electronic pumps and things for later in the game. And then we're going to need to plan where we want our bathrooms. Now, I typically put them off to the left, so when I do something different, I'll go off to the right. You don't need them too close to the water supply, but you know, since I've kind of got this dug out. No, must be different. So let's first get the water set up, and then we'll worry about that. So we need... Okay, now we've got our pitcher pump, so now we need to sort out our bathrooms. First things first, I'm going to queue up a few cots for placement. Just put those right over there so that our duplicants have somewhere to sleep tonight. And then I'm going to work out where we're going to put this wash basin. Or the bathroom, rather. Okay, I typically build a symmetrical base, but I'm going to do something a little different today. Just in that this printing part will not be in the dead center of my base. Okay, so we're going to want 2 wash basins, and I'll explain why just now. And we're going to want a couple of outhouses. Perfect, just like that. And since we don't have any flooring over there, we're going to need to do this. And then we'll probably just wall that up a little bit on the side. Very nice. Let's go ahead and dig that out so they can pass through it, as well as everything over here. Very cool. Now, you may notice that I am leaving a 3 wide space on either side of my ladders, and that is for... it's a bit of sort of future-proofing, really. Because later in the game, you can get fireman's poles, which allow your duplicants to slide down very quickly, and you can also get transit tubes, but that's super late game, which you can then run next to your ladders, which your duplicants can use as sort of like a fast transit system. Pretty cool. Then since we've got this space available here, why don't we take this one up and start tapping into some of this copper ore over here. We can go even further up and we can get into that oxalite. Nice. Okay, cool. So our first wash basin is up. We can tap the direction button on the right there to set it so that only colonists leaving from the bathroom will need to wash their hands if they've got germs on them. Just as easy as that. And what I'm going to do is go into sub-priority here and set everything in here to a higher priority so that it gets built first. Now, I have made a minor mistake here by placing these wash basins 1 tile too far to the left. I could potentially move it over, but it's going to be such a long time before we have access to the transit tubes and pipes and poles and things that I'm not too worried about it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and place down a pneumatic door, not 2 of them, just 1, as well as another tile, just like that, and we can roof this thing off. There we go. Now, the reason I'm doing this, encasing it that is for, well, this is sort of twofold. The first is that these outhouses will produce polluted dirt as they continue their function, essentially. And and that polluted dirt gives off polluted oxygen, which contains food poisoning germs, basically stuff that will give our colonists diarrhea. If we encase it airtight, that will be difficult for those germs to leak out. We can eventually destroy them with the use of a specialized equipment, but we don't have access to that just yet. And then the second reason is that the game now features rooms, or it has featured them for some time, but having a enclosed latrine gives a stress relief bonus universally, which is really useful. So every time the colonists walk in, or the duplicants rather, walk inside this room, they will get a minor stress relief bonus, which cannot be understated in value. So the reason you're going to want 2 of these here wash basins is that when you have sort of upwards of 6 or 7 colonists, it's quite often that you'll have more than one of them in this room at the time using the outhouse. Now, when they leave, they will be covered in dirty, dirty germs. They basically poop all over themselves, it seems, and so you need them to wash themselves before they enter the rest of your base, otherwise you risk spreading the germs all over the place. Now, the wash basins are pretty good at removing those germs by using up clean water and producing polluted water, which will eventually be dumped out in a bottle once it's complete, but we'll deal with that when it comes to it. The reason you want 2 of these is that if a wash basin is in use, when another colonist approaches it, they will not wait until the duplicant using the wash basin is finished. They'll just simply walk past. So if you have 2 of them, it's much harder for duplicants to accidentally just sort of skip cleaning themselves and run past you, which is rather useful when you're trying to keep a clean base. Having 2 wash basins then essentially means that you'll very rarely have any duplicants leave this area with germs on them. The first thing we're going to want to do is designate an area for power production and storage in the short term. And in the short term, I mean sort of, you know, just for the next 20 or 30 cycles. We're on cycle 2 only at present. Okay, so we're going to put some storage in the center there, which our base will use just sort of as general purpose. We won't specialize it too much. We can put whatever we want in there. And then we're going to produce some power. So we'll throw it on a manual generator as well as a pair of batteries. And maybe an algae deoxidizer, just like that. So this is a nifty little thing. It's essentially, God, I don't even know what the science behind it would be, but you put algae in it, it somehow removes the algae from the oxygen rather from the algae and spits it out at your base at a slightly warmer temperature than the algae you put in. Okay, and while our little dupes are finishing putting together our little oxygen production station there, we can deal with our automated storage, or rather not automated storage, I keep reading the wrong tab, our storage compactors. We want them to store everything except for polluted dirt. We don't want that being brought into the base, because that's going to be covered in dirty germs. That's basically the remnants of what's left at the bottom of the outhouse. Not the best stuff in the world. Okay, so as you can see, Ruby here is running on the generator. The excess power is being stored in these tiny batteries, and then it is being used up by the algae deoxidizer, which you will see very quickly is going to produce quite a lot of heat. It currently produces 7.5 watts of heat. Now, the game doesn't really do a good job of explaining its mechanics to people who are not familiar with, you know, high school level physics. And I think that's a bit of a failing on its part. It definitely needs to do that in order to reach a wider audience. Listen to me stutter. But it's okay. 7.5 watts essentially just means that that's how much energy this thing is outputting in the form of heat into its immediate surroundings. Now, everything in the game has something called a specific heat capacity, which is its ability to absorb and store heat. Now, as you can see, it even provides the what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Equation. That's the word I was looking for. And as you can see there, it's pretty straightforward. What it's basically saying is that a set number of joules is required to heat 1 gram of the selected object by 1 degree Celsius. And all that means, basically, is that this thing is going to output X amount of energy, and that energy will be absorbed by its immediate surroundings, and the ability of those surroundings to absorb that energy is determined by specific heat capacity. The higher this is, the more it can absorb. Now, let's go ahead and pack away a lot of the stuff in the base. As you can see, the duplicates are now deciding to pick up and store all of the bits lying around, and we can go ahead and designate that. Let's say, for example, we want to clean up the bedroom area. We can set that at a higher priority. I select the priority of the sweep by simply selecting the numbers on the right-hand side. Oh, we got a new dupe. Nice. Let's go ahead and choose them. Now, we don't get to randomize our next set. We just got to pick them from the lot. We can also reject them if we don't want anybody. But I'm thinking that Mima over here is looking pretty good. So I guess Mima it is. We got a couple duplicates with small battles, but with small bladders rather. But she has a decent athletic score. So let's go ahead and take Mima. She might just be our builder after all. And now, since I have set this sweeping job at a higher priority than anything else in the base, all of our duplicates, regardless of their assignments, will go ahead and do that first. Let's also go ahead and plot down how we're going to deal with our research. Let's put down a research station right over there and run some power over to it. There we go. And that brings me to the next next area, which is jobs, which we'll only be able to access once we've researched things. And I think we can only look at the research once we've built the research station, so we're just waiting on that. Here we go. Okay, so our research station is ready to go. Let's go ahead and tap on research, and here's the tree. There's a lot to take in. We'll deal with it as it comes. First things first, though, we're going to want advanced research, which gives us access to the second tier of intermediate research, as well as the jobs board and the jobs tab, which allows us to assign our duplicates specific jobs, which gives them sort of extra proficiency in that field. So Mima over here is going to slug away at that. I'm not sure, is there anyone else who's a bit better than it? Unfortunately, we don't have access to the jobs tab, but we can assign priorities so long. So Abe, you're good builders. You get a number 1 build, and we'll give you both a number 2 priority to digging. Maybe Mima here, she's a good runner. She can do athletics and supply and storage second. We got Ruby, or you know what, let's go ahead and say everybody is combat, life support, toggle, which is basically like Flick in RimWorld, and care as a number 1 priority. Research is going to be pretty low for everybody except those who I deem require it. Ruby here is going to be our first cook and second rancher. Mima, you're a decent tidier too. You can do that. Ari, you can do some art and some digging, my man. You could be a #1 digger. Okay, cool. So that should keep them all busy. So while we're waiting for Mima to get that done, why don't we go ahead and set up our food production. So let's go ahead and, well, we're going to dig out this area now. We will eventually have to move this water tank over a bit if we want to utilize this column over here, but that's not really the end of the world. We can also dig down through that, and we can run a ladder down into here so that we can access all the stuff we're dropping on the floor. Let's also give our duplicants some room to move within it. They can walk underwater. They won't swim. They'll literally just like walk under the water, which is a bit bizarre, but I mean, it is an early access game. We can't expect too much of it. And I think what's probably not a terrible idea is to bust into this area over here for the express purpose of dumping some of that carbon dioxide down here. I don't mind if it pulls off down on the bottom. If anything, actually, that's going to help us out. Okay, so we got another hatch. That is great. He's going to eat some of the crap lying on the floor. I don't want him eating up our algae, though, so I'm going to put a high priority on that sweep. Nice, and then we can go ahead and sort out food. So let's give ourselves a platform to work with. Hit up food, and we'll make a microbe musher. This basically is going to compact dirt into edible mush bars, which have quite a high chance to cause diarrhea in your duplicates, FYI. So actually rather run this power wire through the ladder, and then we can have sort of like a central spine going. As you can see, we are now almost completely through our supply of oxalate, which is going to prove to be a bit of a problem. A single algae deoxidizer will be able to support 4 duplicates without trouble, but we are dumping a lot of it into these upper areas. I've been slowly watching those counts climb, but that's okay. We'll probably put the duplicate's bedroom up here. That's probably not a terrible idea. And I like to do 2 doors over there because they allow airflow pretty comfortably between them. Yeah, so we can put this here as a duplicate bedroom, and then that again, with the rooms bonus, with the barracks, there we go, will provide a stamina recovery bonus, so they don't have to sleep for as long. Not that they wake up during the night cycle. I really wish they would if they had enough stamina, but we can't get everything we want. Alright, Mima's ticking along on the research over there, which is fantastic, so we can probably go ahead and instruct our duplicates to dig out this top tier so that we can put the roof in on this bedroom. That's definitely a good idea. Let's go ahead and get all of this copper out here at a high sweeping priority. I just want to make sure, and you know what, let's also go ahead and clear out this bathroom. Because colonists have it. Oh, we should also definitely set these to a higher priority so that if these things need emptying or refilling or whatever, they get done before anything else. Very important to me that my bathrooms function. You don't want them all clogging up and then your duplicates pooping all over the place. Well, they technically just pee, but you know what I mean. Okay, the research has been completed, which is great, which means we can go ahead and install the jobs board as well as the supercomputer, which is the 2nd level of research. I think they are planning to add in a 3rd tier, but thankfully for the present, we only have to worry about the 2. Now, the supercomputer uses water in extreme quantities to cool, and so it's typically a good idea to try and get the research done as early on as you can, while you have access to a lot of water. If you leave stuff for later, it can be quite difficult to, well, really, it can be quite difficult to use that water effectively. It's also a good way to destroy germs, because if you have some germy water, you can ensure that your duplicates use that in exclusion on the supercomputer by basically just disabling all your clean sources. You just got to make sure you aren't reliant on water to produce mush bars then, otherwise you're going to put all those germs into the food they eat. But that's all stuff we can get to in the future. Now, as you can see, this building will not function because it requires a research assistant or a scientist. And that's pretty easily solved by heading over into the Jobs tab and designating tasks. But I see we do have a new duplicate, so let's go ahead and bring him in, and then we'll go ahead and set up everybody's jobs and call it an episode. Now we've got Meep over here, who's a staple of Oxygen Not Included, and Brothgar's favorite duplicate. He's a good guy, actually. He can dig, he wants to build, and having a builder that can dig is a pretty great thing. He's also pretty fast. I think, Meep, you're looking good. He just won't cook, which isn't really the end of the world. Then we do have Nicola here, though, who has a preference for construction already and an interest in it. Nicola's looking a bit better. And then, last but not least, we have Ada, who has an interest in learning and an ability to do it. I think we might actually take Ada. Sorry, Meep. just simply because we do need a researcher at this point in the game. Welcome, Ada, to the Skylab. So, let's go ahead and designate those jobs. Ada, where are you? You are going to be our research assistant. Thank you, Mima, my girl. Let's see who else can be a builder. Abe can do building, and then Mima can be set up as a gopher, which means that she'll move objects around. It's very useful to have. Ruby can be our sous chef, chef, and who's else going to be? Meep, I guess? Ari? You know what? Oh, wait, I'm forgetting something. Cancel all the jobs, because there's a tool we're not utilizing. Up in the right-hand corner here, there's a tab that says auto-prioritize. You should definitely select that, because now, when we assign people, and we head over to the priorities, we can see that they have automatically been placed, or rather that their priorities have been automatically adjusted to suit their new positions. So let's get you in the gopher, and Ada, you're going to do research. So if we head over into jobs, you can see now that I didn't do this, but they have all been set to prioritize their jobs before anything else. That's basically, so on your double up priority, if they have the job, you can click it again, left click, and it will go up to job priority, which means that they will focus on that over and above other tasks that they are not specifically required to do by their job. So let's sweep up the bathroom like I wanted to, and the bedroom. Let's just clear those places out, and we can throw in some furniture in here. Just enough space for 5 cots. Perfect, and that's just how many duplicants we have, and we're probably going to have just for a little while. We may need another guy in a bit to be a farmer, but at present we're good. We also are only 44 tiles here, and you can see that a barracks has a max size of 64, which means we could add another 20 tiles, which is pretty good. This is 4 high, so we could add another 5 in. Means we could fit in another 3 beds in total if we make better use of the space by cramming these dudes. Oh no, I did it twice. By cramming these dudes up against the wall. There we go, beautiful, just like that. So let's dig out this wall, and we'll throw in some more space, but we're going to do that in the next episode. Everybody, I hope you have enjoyed watching this very first episode of Oxygen Not Included. I am largely unemployed, and I will see you all in the next one. Cheers.